It's finally here. After almost 3 years, Murder Jones has finally released its final episode, Absolute End. Is this episode good? Does it feel like a satisfying conclusion to this long and crazy ride? Well, why don't we find out? We start the episode outside, where the Solver's power is causing the planet to go cuckoo cuckoo and make things start floating. We get a cameo from two background characters' corpses, and then cut to the classroom, where the teacher is busy playing into Uzi's power fantasies until it gets ripped out of the ground, and, in classic underpaid teacher style, he accepts his own mortality before going out to check the state of things. Not great, and gets slapped by a Solver tentacle, barely reacting and getting dragged to his death. Then we get to see the aftermath of Uzi getting chucked into space, where she is, unsurprisingly, still in space, now with Nori. The two have an admittedly pretty wholesome chat before N interrupts, sending Nori on a crash course towards Copper 9 and making everyone remember that the pilot was a thing that existed. Uzi's a bit mad at him and he's a bit mad at Uzi, but they put a pin in that problem to dodge the chunks of exploded planet. Uzi was about to make Liam put a little money in the swear jar until a Solver tentacle comes and interrupts them, destroying the ship and sending the two flying. En and Uzi do an eagle talon grip death spiral and confess their love for each other, meaning I can now rest easy and stop trying to argue with idiots who claim they're just friends. Uzi starfishes herself back to Copper 9 and we cut to Jay, who's chilling on a chunk of rock and mourning the loss of her pod. Colin, Thad, and Lizzie are also there, smashed flat against the floor due to the messed up gravity, and Jay attempts to kill them with a missile. However, V comes back with a dingo and saves their lives. Jay becomes the nerd emoji and gets demolished by V, leading to a fight between the two. However, before that, we get to see that Lizzie is secretly an owl. V confronts Jay about having seemingly switched sides, and the two drop some massive lore bombs before Jay brings V to her knees and pulls a Darth Vader. However, V, having been changed by the power of friendship, rejects her offer and I to calm down from thinking Jay had died again. The two are about to fight again before Uzi and N come, and Uzi chucks a black hole into the planet's core, her and N landing together and being the coolest couple this side of Pluto. However, the sleep paralysis demon comes back and crushes Uzi's black hole, does some spooky flesh puppet stuff courtesy of best boy Kevin Temmer, and doesn't even try to hide her clear preference towards N. Sin attempts to possess Uzi again, but this time she can hold off, and she and N prepare for a fight. However, Sin just knocks N away, and Uzi throws out a classic bite me, with her actually getting a response this time. An unfortunate one, however, as Sin rips out her core, with N coming back in the nick of time to save her, and Uzi probably being in the most psychological terror she's ever been in her life. However, Sin takes her brother away and decides he deserves a taste of death as well, scratching at his chest like a cat trying to come inside before Uzi wakes up and saves him, dragging his unconscious body into a building to hide while V and J still fight. Sin confronts Uzi and N, however they're hiding. She summons too many human hands and gets dangerously close to fighting them. Meanwhile, the people counting animated media with panic attack or mental breakdown scenes get to add another bullet to their list, and Uzi tries her best to avoid possession, her core attempting to crawl out of her chest once more. However, V comes and pours her heart out in an apology to an N hologram. However, thankfully the real N is there, realizes it's a trap, and gives away him and Uzi's hiding spot so V doesn't get killed. He unfortunately gets cored as well, and Sin chases V while holding both the squirming core and dead body of her ex. Uzi crawls out of their hiding spot, and outside, V gets kicked to the ground by Jay while Sin throws down N's corpse next to her. We get the shot from the trailer thumbnail, and V nearly has a heart attack before Khan figures out how to weaponize doors, and Liam is just barely safe, having to put more money into the swear jar. Dad gets to put his football skills to use and chucks the railgun, but unfortunately Uzi isn't there to receive, and Solver tentacles begin to pull that chunk of land they were on to the planet's core. Sin goes in for the attack, about to take V out once and for all, before something chops off her claw.
Hands off! No one traumatizes these weirdly hot robots but me!
Whoa, he's bisexual! I didn't know that!
By the way, I'm bisexual!
We get a kinda sweet moment between Uzi and V. Sin reveals she's a loveless loser, and Uzi says she's cringe but free. Wouldn't it be funny if this was like Liam's self-aware way of responding to criticism? Nori's a supportive mom, Uzi gets her railgun back, and Sin just goes game on, and we get the best music and fight scene combination in the entire show. Never would have expected them to end with an anime boss battle, but I appreciate the hustle. Jay's head becomes a baseball, and Sin pulls a real dirty move, making Uzi think she just killed her boyfriend. Jay comes back and is about to strike the killing blow. However, V and the real unharmed N come back and chuck her into the mist pit, never to be seen again. The three regroup, and it's revealed the fake N was Sin with a hologram projection that would make Megamind jealous. V is casually straightphobic, and the real fight starts. Sin gives N deja vu back to his manor days before impaling him once more. However, N just winks and Uzi comes and beheads the creature with her pickaxe, the two saluting each other as Sin pins Uzi down, is about to kill her. However, V comes back and Uzi is a tsundere towards her. V flings Sin like she's a trash bag, and Uzi and N's ADHD gets the better of them as they get distracted trying to come up with a secret handshake. V is pinned to the wall and aggressively mouthed at before Uzi comes and kicks Sin's head in, sending her flying as she and N put their new handshake into effect. Uzi almost trips and Sin is ready to claim her next meal. However, a single poorly calculated teleportation leads to Uzi's hand ending up inside her chest and being in the perfect position to rip out her core. Twitch uses the power of the sun to burn it, releasing the black hole trapped inside. The entire world becomes monochrome as she and Sin get trapped inside purgatory, to which Uzi follows in her footsteps and chomps her core, returning the world to normal but resulting in her passing out and Sin melting like a long forgotten Hershey's bar. You can even sim bones into his body. How quaint! Said bones start to float around Uzi, and N and V rush towards her before she fatalaires. She wakes up in a pit, I think, and all the side characters come out for a roll call. Dino has a skateboard, and Lizzie tragically loses her phone, almost killing Khan with it before he's saved by his estranged wife.
You don't know me and I hate you!
Kinda hot?
I'd say keep it in your pants, but you don't wear any. The bus comes back, now being driven by Lizzie's arch nemesis, and N and V show up looking for Uzi. They find her and she and Egg share a hug. V is straightphobic once more and freaks out and points a gun at Uzi when she's revealed to have homophobia in her eyes. She acknowledges she's a Mary Sue and does one little last burst of gremlin energy at V. With the series finally coming full circle, she gives a presentation about her character development. Everyone is vaguely horrified, N's art career is forever cursed, and V and Lizzie are being platonic besties in the background. And now she can do this. We get some perfectly cut screams, then credits roll. Credits whose visuals are definitely teasing nothing, and Uzi becomes a system and gets fashion advice from the devil. I thought Uzi and Nori's space conversation was cute. I liked the two of them finding an alternate way to communicate as they couldn't speak, and Nori giving Uzi a small pep talk was nice. I really only wish the two of them got to have an actual real conversation without N coming to interrupt them. Speaking of N, the callback ping scene was a masterpiece of horror. N having a panic attack and flashbacks to the manor, Uzi trying to keep her core in her chest, and Sin's consistent droning of callback ping made this scene super uncomfortable to watch in a really great way. Also, as someone who's had several panic attacks in their lifetime, watching N try to have one while being as silent as possible just made me love and feel sorry for the guy all the more. And V pouring her heart out in an apology to what she believes is N was just borderline tragic. She knows they're in a situation where they could either succeed or die, and she feels that this may be her last chance to ever tell N her true feelings and motivations. And when N is forced to give away him and Uzi's hiding spot to keep V from walking into a trap, she's horrified. N was killed right in front of her, and she thinks she's failed in her mission to keep him safe. And the fake out deaths? Listen, for the past year and a half, when I was prepping to watch a new episode of the show, I would psych myself up to watch one of the main characters die. So seeing it happen not just once, but twice, and Sin playing with their dead bodies, And Uzi specifically, watching her panic as she tries to shovel her core back into her chest cavity, without hands, might I add, completely defenseless and just praying En can take on Sin until she's able to get up, made me feel a kind of pain I never thought was possible. And I can only imagine the pain and fear she must have been feeling in that moment. I won't deny, I've been a Newsy shipper ever since episode 3, so seeing the two finally realize their feelings for each other and recognize each other as romantic partners made my day. The way the two confessed their feelings felt sweet and natural, and while I would have liked to see them kiss, I ultimately don't think it was necessary. They are above mortal displays of affection. And the fact that even after they realize they're dating, they're allowed to keep their quirks and just be silly little guys is perfect. I've seen a lot of friends to lovers relationships and just fictional relationships in general where once the characters realize they have feelings for each other and start dating, they either have all their flaws sandpapered away so they can be the perfect couple, or they have a bunch of pointless melodrama inserted into their relationship. So the fact that even now that they're dating, they're still allowed to keep their quirks and just have fun with each other and not act like a stereotypical couple is why I personally believe that Newsy is the best friends to lovers relationship by far, and I'm taking that opinion to my grave. And finally, the moment when this episode hit its peak, the final fight. Now, I probably should have seen this, well, with all the anime references in this series, but I never would have expected them to end it off with an anime boss fight complete with a Nightcore soundtrack. And the fact it was a single, poorly thought out teleportation that led to Sin's defeat just made the victory feel ever sweeter. In my opinion, for cocky and vain villains, the best way to have them defeated is by their own hubris. And I'm gonna be real, when I first saw this scene, I thought that it was like Uzi using her own power to melt Sin's core. However, rewatching it, I now realize that she used the sun's heat to do so, which makes sense as that's an established weakness of solver infected drones, and you can even see her own tan burning. Now for Jay. This may be a bit of a controversial opinion, but I don't think episode 8 ruined Jay's character like some people may claim. I want to go more in depth and make an analysis of her in the future, but to simplify, I think it makes sense for her to side with Sin as opposed to defecting. Sin is stupidly overpowered and has complete authority over Jay. Even if she tried to fight back, she could just one shot her and wipe her memories. Jay herself says that there's no escape even in death. Even if she wanted to fight back, she feels trapped. Trapped on what she thinks is the winning team. In fact, I'm glad Jay didn't get a redemption arc. One of my fears for episode 8 was that they would try to redeem Jay, but that her arc would be rushed and as a result feel unearned at best and out of character at worst. So, if anything, her staying an antagonist gives me hope that if we did get a redemption for her sometime in the future, it would actually make sense and feel properly paced. Also, V. Now, I had two big fears regarding V. The first was that they would make her return feel anticlimactic to the point that you would even wonder why she sacrificed herself in the first place. And the second was that she would stay dead, but they would have to introduce some complicated reason as to why she couldn't simply be revived. However, I think they handled her return well, and Uzi and N technically not knowing she's alive adds a lot of tension to the hallway scene. I mean, N doesn't know whether that's the real V or just the solver using her voice. Also, we have a dinosaur now. I like the return of the Sentinel. Makes them feel like an actual part of the world and not just a one episode gimmick. Also, I just find it funny how Dead End and Absolute End released in the same month, a year and 5 days apart from each other. This fandom thought V was dead for over a year. Now, for the million-dollar question, does episode 8 succeed as a finale? Well, there are plenty of questions still left unanswered, mostly regarding the solver, and the epilogue suggests Uzi will have to live with it as a part of her body for presumably the rest of her life, not to mention the visuals from the credits suggesting things may not be as they seem in Outpost 3. Episode 8 doesn't feel like a series finale, but a season finale. It leaves multiple questions unanswered, and I feel like it teases way too much for this to be the absolute end. And I feel like that may have been intentional on Liam's part. Despite Glitch and Liam talking like this is the end, Glitch loves to gloat about how, since they're indie, they can basically do whatever they want, so I wouldn't be surprised if a season 2, or something similar like a Steven Universe Futures-esque spin-off series, were at least in pre-production. However, even if I'm wrong and this is the last episode, I would be satisfied. It ends the current story in a good way and leaves all the characters in a good place for us to imagine what their futures would be. Ultimately, Absolute End doesn't feel like an end, but rather a new beginning, a stepping off point for future stories. Liam himself said that he feels there's more to explore in this world, and Glitch said they'd be interested in doing more with the characters, so even if this is the end for now, I'm glad I was able to join the ride, and I have a feeling this isn't the last we'll be seeing of En and Uzi. Anyway, that's all for me. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. Subscribe if you wanna. I'll see you next time, and remember to die mad.